And how do you know so much about me? I want some answers.
You will get them. Now, sit down.
I'll stand, thanks.
It is usually a good idea to have a seat when your world is about to be turned upside down.
Whoa!
What's going on, moviegoers? If you're new to the channel, my name's Christian and welcome to C-Roll Productions. A possible Madam Web movie starring Charlize Theron or Amy Adams in the Sony Spider-Man universe. This is very, very interesting to me. Now, I know quite some time ago, Sony had put out an untitled Marvel movie. I believe it was for next October. Nobody knew what it was, but speculation around this film was supposed to be a female-centric movie, leading a lot to believe that they might introduce a Spider-Woman in their universe. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know what Sony's plans are with their universe. I honestly don't know. I feel like if they're going to be introducing a Spider-Woman already before Tom Holland is even kind of mentioned in that universe. Now, I don't know if Tom Holland's going to be mentioned in Morbius or Venom Let There Be Carnage. We have no idea, but we do know that with Morbius, it is going to tie into Spider-Man's universe because of the whole Vulture at the end of that first trailer for Morbius. So we know that there is some kind of connection. We just don't know when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to be integrated into that particular universe. Now, it's kind of, we know Tom Holland knows. Tom Holland came out and said that he finally knows the plans for the future of this character in both studios. Obviously, because Sony is making the films and Marvel Studios is also putting up the budget for the movie with some kind of percentage, I believe. So Tom Holland knows everything. He knows what's going to be going on with his particular character and how many movies he is going to be starring in. But this is interesting to me. A Madam Web or a Spider-Woman movie. If I'm going to be honest with you, a Madam Web movie, Cassandra Webb, the OG Madam Web, I remember from that 90s animated Spider-Man show, Pizza Chef. I don't see her character being a film that should be a film that should be made. It shouldn't. She's more so of a fairy godmother type character who makes her appearances every now and then. I feel like she is a side character. To do an entire film based on Madam Web, I don't think that could work. And not a lot of people know who Madam Web is. So making a film like that would be very, very difficult. But if they're going to do more so of a Spider-Woman film, that could possibly work. I just wouldn't want a Spider-Woman film before we see Tom Holland, you know what I mean, cross over to this universe. I feel like focus on Spider-Man first before you hop into a Spider-Woman movie. It just doesn't really make any kind of sense, you know what I mean? But as of right now, director S.J. Clarkson is going to direct this untitled Sony Marvel movie. And like I said before, Charlize Theron and Amy Adams are reportedly on Sony's list of potential candidates to star in their upcoming female-centric Marvel movie. I like both actresses, both really, really talented. I remember watching Amy Adams, I think it was season 1 of Smallville. She was in season 1 of Smallville, and she was like, she had this whole binge eating thing. She was trying to lose weight, and she had like this kryptonite shake, and she lost a lot of weight, but she turned into some kind of monster who just eats. She was just eating up all the boys. She tried to eat my boy Pete. Crazy episode. And then she went off to do a lot of big things, like, oh my God, I can't. Arrival. She's obviously Lois Lane in Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, and other films she's done as well. Critically acclaimed films. So they're both fantastic actors. And Charlize Theron is fucking beautiful. That woman doesn't age. She is so goddamn attractive. She was my first choice for Captain Marvel. I would be like, yes, absolutely. I would have been fully 100% behind that. Brie Larson obviously wasn't my first choice. My second choice for Captain Marvel definitely was Emily Blunt. I feel like, Charlize Theron and Emily Blunt pitch perfect for the role for Captain Marvel. But they're so versatile, they can play other heroes. You know what I mean? In this comic book genre. So it's pretty dope. But as far as, you know, Amy Adams or Charlize Theron playing a Spider-Woman, it's kind of difficult. They're both up there in age. And isn't Spider-Woman supposed to be kind of young? You get what I'm saying? Like, at least younger. So I'm curious to know how true this report is, saying that, you know, Sony has those two being eyed for, you know, the lead role in this untitled Spider-Woman movie, or female-centric Marvel movie for Sony. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, they have Silk, and I know that there was rumors going up in the air that they were trying to develop a Silk movie. She's another Spider-Woman, Cindy Moon. And you have Spider-Woman, you have Jessica Drew, you have Spider-Girl, May Parker. I doubt that's going to happen. Then you have Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy, and Madam Web is Julia Carpenter, or the OG Cassandra Webb. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. I mean, if they do possibly introduce a Madam Web into this Spider-Man universe, it would be so epic. And I would love to see two actresses play this particular character, because she's older and she's wise. Jamie Lee Curtis or Meryl Streep. Those are my two top choices for Madam Web, and they could knock it out of the park. Knock it out of the park. It would be so dope to see. But this is pretty interesting, though. And apparently they came out and said that, you know, Sony's working on a Jackpot movie. And I was like, who the fuck is a Jackpot? Never heard of her. And I don't care. I did a little bit of research on it, but I was like, I don't really want to make a video on this. Like, hey, this character seems boring. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows Jackpot. Legit. Like, when they announced that, you know, they got a writer from like the Arrow show, The Flash. He even wrote the Green Lantern. People were like, who is Jackpot and why? And they got a CW person to write this fucking screenplay. Like, these CW shows aren't the greatest. They're not. Don't hire somebody who's kind of put out amateur and mediocre work. Don't. A script and story is everything to a comic book movie. If the action is great, but the story sucks, the film is going to fail. I mean, that's just, the fuck just fell at me. Tripping. It's just going to fail every time. You need a good, solid, relatable story. And I'm not saying that the guy can deliver, but just seeing him coming from, like, you know, the CW shows and coming off the Green Lantern, it's not giving me any high hopes for a Jackpot movie. It's really not. That's another discussion. But yeah, man, Madam Web. I would love to see Madam Web done right as a side character. You know what I mean? In a different kind of universe or dimension, or wherever she comes from. I'm going to have to pull out this massive Marvel encyclopedia. It is beautiful. This book has damn near everybody in it, and it is fantastic. Madam Web. Let's see. The original Madam Web, Cassandra Webb, was born blind but developed skills as a clairvoyant that compensated. That was a good one. For her sightlessness. Cassandra's first encounter with Spider-Man came when businessman Rupert Dockery was scheming to take over the Daily Globe. At first skeptical of the help she offered, Spider-Man later acknowledged her usefulness, and they worked together. At times, Cassandra could be manipulative. She once tricked Spider-Man to obtaining a mystical object for her so she could try to gain youthful immortality. She later mentored the third Spider-Woman, Maddie Franklin, but she couldn't prevent Craven's family from killing them both. Julia Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman, inherited her powers and has taken over as the new Madam Web. Julia helped bring her insane ex-boyfriend, the Shord, to justice. Cassandra was later cloned by the Jackal, only to die again, asking Julia to save the Prowler as she died. Little brief history on that particular character. But I feel like if they can kind of tie that in and kind of twist the arc on that story of Cassandra Webb being from a different dimension, but she legit like like Doctor Strange, how he watches over the multiverse, something along those lines, and she, you know, she finds Peter, and she's like I said, she's good and bad. She has the times where she wants to help, but then she could be very manipulative and be like, I need you to do this for me, you know. So she has these kind of these second, what's the word I'm looking for? She has these second hidden agendas when she's working with Peter. That would be something very interesting and awesome to see. But like I said, if they do decide to go through with this, actually introducing Madam Web, Jamie Lee Curtis or Meryl Streep, and then, you know, they can do I think they should first start off with the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman if they decide to do a Spider-Woman movie. It's still untitled, but this is just speculation going on and what they think, what Sony has planned for their untitled Marvel film, I believe, of next October. But post your comments down below, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this possible Spider-Woman or Madam Web film being in early development over at Sony and Marvel. Please, who would you like to see as Madam Web or Spider-Woman? Please post your comments down below, you guys. And thank you for taking time today for watching CO Productions. Peace.
We out.